All right. So, trilogy fight this weekend for the co-main event. Uh, in retrospect, this sequence of events, I actually want to see Alexa Grasso win because the draw, the quote-unquote draw, because I feel like that should have been Alexa Grasso winning by a unanimous decision, but it wasn't. But looking back, the first fight, obviously, you look at how red Valentina's chin was with that choke when Alexa Grasso got that. You could tell she wanted to hold on to that for dear life because it shows a respect for the dominant champion that this might be the only choke I'm going to get on her or anyone's going to in a long time. So she sank it in. And I think that was the thing is I felt like the first one, it was just a fluke on Valentina's part. But then the second fight, I watch it go the full distance, and I see Alexa Grasso have the more shining moments where I'm like, maybe Valentina is just finally getting caught up by Father Time. And that's okay. Valentina's done way too much for the sport. She's got nothing left to prove. Obviously, she's gonna fight again. It's happening. But I don't want to see her fight too much more because it's like it's a very slippery slope, especially in these age ranges, especially when you've been around for so long and you're going to accumulate more damage whether you win or lose. But also, the reason I want Alexa Grasso to win is because if she loses and Valentina retains the title, they're going to try and justify maybe a part 4. Because look at Moreno versus Figueiredo, because one of those fights was a draw, and then it went back and forth, and then they were basically 1-1-1. One draw, one win for Figgy, one win for Moreno, that the fourth one had to decide it. And obviously Moreno ended up on the right end of that. But it was just weird knowing that two names were carrying the division for a long time. And we're going to start to see something similar when it comes to women's flyweight if Valentina wins this one. Because especially you look at that second fight with the draw, I'm like, okay, they're going to want to try to keep this going. And you know what? If it goes that way, there's nothing I could do. It's just eventually that saga is going to end. It's going to go away. And obviously, two ways of looking at this, which are probably going to be a little pessimistic and negative. Who else is going to hold up the division after it's over? And isn't Manon Fiorot still sidelined waiting for a title shot? Because I think Manon Fiorot definitely deserves one. Especially after taking out Erin Blanchfield, who was like the girl at flyweight who was next for the title and just outclassed her and outgunned her the entire time. That was a great fight. So Manon is now deserving of a title shot, and it happens so many times where clearly the person who deserves a shot at the actual gold is being sidelined just because of these sagas and everything like that. I just don't like seeing these things. It makes me feel bad for Manon, just like it would make me feel bad for Tom Aspinall right now. Like a lot of people are talking about Tom Aspinall. Everyone's talking about Tom Aspinall, but it's so common that we know where this story is going. So, I don't want to see Valentina take any more, damage. I don't want to see her stay for longer than she really needs to. Maybe she loses to Alexa Grasso and then fights Manon Fiorot, but I think Manon Fiorot's going to want an immediate title shot because she's going to stick by her guns. But we'll see. And then maybe she does another fight, wins, and then lays the octagon gloves in the octagon. But then also it's like I think that it's time for the division to move on because I don't think Valentina has too much more to gain by holding that belt anymore. Because you got to look at her past. She was the only champion at flyweight in women's division after a long time when she won that against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who was the rightful person who should fight for the title just because Joanna's history at strawweight. But even Valentina Shevchenko basically beating Amanda Nunes, I think it's safe to say if you want to count Amanda Nunes as the greatest combat sports athlete of all time in the women's rankings, Valentina is definitely number 2. And eventually, these generations shift. We're all seeing it. And I think we don't fight the tide on this one anymore. Petty reasons, honestly, I feel like they are when I say them, but I'm just being honest. But this is how I feel about the whole situation. But, what else is there to say except, I don't want this book to drown on for way too long. What are you going to do?